using the Consolidate feature in Excel. When you hear the word consolidate, perhaps you're thinking of combine, bring together, maybe even merge. I know you've had the need to take information from various sources and somehow bring in that information together in a summary area in another file. I've opened up a number of files here on the screen, and I've arranged it through tiling all of these files so you could see a little bit of every one of these spreadsheets in view. The destination where we're going to have all of our data from each one of these divisions to be summarized is this detail file. I'll just quickly expand it so you can see what's in it. We just have some headings here really, and notice my active cell is A4. Wherever your active cell is on the end when you consolidate, that's where the information is going to be started to paste, if you will. I'm going to tile again all of my files so you can actually see what's going on when we consolidate. We find the Consolidate feature on the Data tab in the ribbon and in the Data Tools group. Consolidate, when I click on it, you'll note the Consolidate dialog box comes up. The function by default is sum, and notice where the cursor is flashing. This is key, by the way. The cursor must be flashing under reference before you actually consolidate on the end. So if you lose the cursor, make sure you click back here so that that cursor is flashing. I'll show you when sometimes you'll lose that cursor. When you focus in on the function area and decide to maybe choose some other function other than sum, you'll see count, average, max, min. I'm actually going to still stick with sum, but no longer do you see the cursor flashing under reference because right now the cursor is really focused in the function area. I'm going to click under reference, and it must be flashing here before I pull up my first reference, otherwise known as a source. When I do a quick peek over to my Division 1, for example, here, I'll just bring down my dialog box so you can see where I'm going. You'll see that the cursor is already focused in Division 1, but I don't have the right area selected yet. So I'm going to maximize Division 1, and I'm going to highlight A3 to E7. Notice how I'm selecting text and number data. I'm ignoring the summation row and column here. Because I'm creating a summation on the end, there's no use totaling up totals in my summary report. Once I've selected that reference, I'm going to choose Add. There is no need to browse for this information because I already have the file open, and so I can continue on to my next file called Division 2. It is already open, so I go under my switch windows and choose Division 2. And because I used a template to create all of these files, I know that my reference is going to be exactly the same for each one of these divisions, A3 to E7. I add, go to the next file, and I can choose to collapse if I want the reference area so I don't have to keep moving around the dialog box so much. A3 to E7, expand the dialog box, add, one more division, select the range, expand the box, add. You'll see how all of the references here have the exact same ranges selected, except for the name of the file. If you've made a mistake or you notice there's a mistake here somewhere, you'll need to delete any one of these ranges and then reselect, because whatever's in this list under all references is truly what Excel is looking at as its sources to add in this case. You might have recalled that we used headings in the selection as well as numbers, and those headings were in the top row and the left column. So I am checking off these boxes under Use Labels In for top row and left column so that Excel will type in the headings in the top row and left column for me, starting in my detail file in A4. I'm going to also choose to create a link. And then the next time I do this in the next few minutes, I won't choose a link, and you'll see the difference between the two. So I check off this box, I click OK, and as soon as I've done that, folks, you can see how I have a combined beverage goods all the way down to fresh seafood for each one of the quarters? No, you'll not see the detail when you first are looking at this combined effort. You get an outline as a bonus here when you link that you can expand your level to so you can see your detail. So your beverage goods is a total in this quarter one specifically of divisions 1 through 4. When you create a link, you will note that you'll get an outline immediately, and because it's a link, you'd expect that if you change one of the numbers in one of those files that is a source, your destination here is also going to change. So we're going to focus in on the Division 1, Quarter 1, and I'm going to take us there. Division 1, Quarter 1, here's your number here, it's coming in. Let's make it something pretty obvious. How about $5? So now we're at 1.1. When I take us over to our detail, you'll see that we've got 1.1 and specifically $5 in here for beverage goods. So yes, it is talking to each other. It is a link. It's a connection. I'm going to do one more consolidation, and this time we're going to choose to not link. Suppose I've already put in some headings, or I can put in my headings later for that top portion of my spreadsheet here. I'm going to, in A1, expect my consolidation effort to appear starting here once I've completed Consolidate. I click on Consolidate. I'm going to take us to our first file, highlight that portion, and I'm just going to quickly try to speed this up here so you can get to see the combo on the end. And once we've added these, and we choose to have the same range for each one of them, I'm going to still use my labels in top row and left column, but not create a link. I click OK, and firstly we can see our columns aren't wide enough, so I'm just going to highlight them here because the pound signs, and double click in between these columns. There is no outline here, and you can also see that when I'm clicking on any one of these cells, they're not formulas, unlike sheet 1. When I clicked on any one of these ones here, they were formulas. And specifically, pardon me, these were formulas, yes, because they were totals for this grouping. But when I click on any one of the detail here, you can see how it's a formula referring back to its source, back in each one of its respected files and cells. So, in summary, you can create a consolidated effort by either choosing to create a link or not create a link. And if you choose to create a link, you'll get an outline, and of course, when the source information changes, so will the destination. If you don't create a link, you get an as at number crunch right at that very time, a dump of data that reflecting an addition in this case, and no outline. Watch what happens when I try to open up the consolidated report without any of its source files, its linking files. I'll go to Open, and I'm going to open up Detail. It says this workbook contains links to other data sources. So I'm going to choose to update, and when I do that, and I'm back to sheet 1, you'll see how it gives me in here in C8 the address or the reference, the full reference to where the source is. Now this is without the file open, obviously, the source file open. If I do open up the file now, the source file, let's say for Division 4, and I make a change, there will be a connection. But if you want to avoid that first prompt when you're opening up the consolidated report or the destination file first and that prompt, I would suggest you open up all of your sources first, and then you open up your detail, and you won't have to worry about how do I handle this prompt for do I update or not.